Um, hey guys, we're live. We're live. What is up, yo? Oh, looks like Bella's Steph. Hi, Steph. Bella's friend. She'll be here. How's everybody doing? We got 2 lives tonight. We're doing this. We're gonna do a little bit of Bevel. The witness Bevel, and then we're gonna do and then I'm gonna come back and do another live on another case. I'll tell you more towards the end of this live. Big news on another case. So we're gonna do this till 9:30, and then at 10 o'clock I'm gonna do my other live. It's about the Valo case. There's new charges, there's just new stuff going on, so we're gonna do that after. So yeah, so we're gonna do the transcripts here for a few hours first. Actually, let me bring you guys up and then I'll get this stuff ready. I don't even have this stuff ready. Bella Libra, what's up?
Hello.
That's the quilt, huh?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's awesome.
That's one side of it. There's 2 sides. Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about that. What do you guys think? Does it look weird because it doesn't go all the way over? Do you think? I mean, I'm gonna put the other one back up, but she wants me to send her the other one, and she's gonna make it like a quilt out of my banner. So it's like thick and it hangs because it's real thin. But see, I didn't even need to pin it. I mean, this just is so thick that I didn't even need to do anything. I just put it up and it stayed. So, like, it's not pinned or anything. But do you guys like it up for the background for a little bit or no?
I think it's beautiful.
The quilt's beautiful, but like for a background, does it look okay for the background, do you think?
I think it looks great, especially with the orange and the yellows and stuff, because it makes you pop. It's definitely making your shirt pop too.
Yeah, and the other side's really cool too, so I can even flip it around sometimes.
Flip it around for the next live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely. Hey Sophia, oh thanks, I'm glad you're here. Kim, what's up?
Oh, we're live. Hi everybody.
Oh, you didn't know we were live? Oh my god, I'm sorry. Oh, because we usually get on and talk a little bit, and I just went live. Oh my god, I was talking to Libra, you didn't hear me saying we're gonna go live?
I heard you, and I was like, okay, but you couldn't hear me. I was like, she can't hear anything I'm saying.
But see, it was before Bella got here, so oh my god. Oh well.
And I'm sorry about being a little bit tardy. Walmart is a crazy place these days.
I was too. Look, I was tardy too. I mean, no, you're fine. I just got ready just before. Yeah.
I'm live.
I was going to say, who is that? All right. So you guys chat for a minute. I get the transcripts and stuff ready, so you guys could chat, say hi to everybody if you want.
I'm going to pull it up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We've missed you guys.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. Oh, man. Today is just explosive day, guys. And yeah, I'm so excited to see everything. I am.
So we're doing Bevel. There we go. Oh, Tom Bevel. Okay. So Libra,
Steph.
some of this. Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, Steph was in here waiting for it. I was like, oh, Bella's friend's here.
She's orange soda.
What were you saying? Sorry.
I was going to ask Libra, some of those pictures you sent me, do you think that, like, would that be something that you think I should maybe show? I didn't get to look at them all yet. Hold on.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them all yet either. So, just for everybody, just kind of.
Oh, you need to give me access. It's not giving me access. I just request. I sent a request. Yeah. Well, it's making me do it on every one. Oh well. I mean, when you send them like Drive, if you don't, if it's something should we show? If we're not going to show tonight, you don't have to, but it does look like some good stuff though. And maybe to show, like, as you guys are reading, because I might show some pictures as you're reading,
Could you hear me? I'm sorry. I didn't.
But yeah, definitely I need access.
We can hear you. You're
okay.
Good.
Yeah, I'll definitely go back through.
What happened?
Oh, she just, I don't know.
Lavina, hello. It's Felicia Montoya's birthday, and she wants you to tell her happy birthday, Zav.
Whoa, where? Hold on a second. I'm coming. Hold on. I can't see the chat right now because I was getting stuff ready, but hold on a second. I'm coming.
T-Pain in the house. Hi, Tara. Thank you for joining us.
Whose birthday?
It's Felicia Montoya.
You guys, we have to sing. We have to
Oh, Libra,
sing.
have you done this yet with us?
Yeah,
she
remember?
did. Yes,
I did it with you guys with cement shoes.
That's right.
Okay, we're gonna sing Felicia. We got it. Let's do it. Ready, guys? On 3. And try to pick up the pace, Bella, because you sing in like slow motion.
Wait,
I have to like.
Why is Libra agreeing with you?
Because you were singing like Marilyn Monroe last time, like we were
so
singing
slow.
Happy Birthday to the president.
I'm gonna follow whatever you guys do.
I couldn't like sing as slow as you. Like I was trying to, like I would stop a couple times and I was still couldn't sing as slow as you. Bella, it's cute. Well, I'm not like I'm just making a joke though. Really,
no, I know. But we'll do it rock and roll style.
No, just normal.
No, just normal Happy Birthday.
Just normal.
Okay, I'm following whatever you guys do.
Okay,
so you guys.
Oh no, I didn't mean to make you all self-conscious about it. Okay, ready?
Okay,
follow my lead.
All right.
Follow my lead. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Felicia.
Happy birthday to you.
Hey, how old are you, Felicia? Are you doing anything for like special for your birthday? No, don't sing.
It's also today is also JJ Fallow's birthday.
Yeah,
guys.
I know. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just telling everybody after this at 10, we got a big live coming up after this. I'm going to do another live. So we're going to cut this at 9:30, no matter where we're at. I feel like, Bella, I decided because I still have to get a little prepared for my one at 10.
I think that's a good idea.
And then there's that press conference tomorrow morning and court and stuff. So I don't want to be up all night. So we're going to cut it off at like 9:30 and then come back for another live, Valo, information, news, new stuff, but we're not going to get into it. We're Darlie right now, but just come. It's very good stuff that just came out about that case at 10 o'clock. Yep. So in case if you guys like are here and then you end up leaving, come back at 10 where it's another live in this very interesting. Okay. So we're going to do Tom Bevel. He's the blood splatter analyst or whatever guy that actually had like, people got exonerated. Is that the right term? I was trying to think of the term the other day. Where, by his testimony and his expertise, people got convicted, and because they went back and he just made
their convictions were overturned and they were exonerated.
There's like 3 of them, I think, and then wasn't there like 17 other ones that they were like looking into or something? It was just like
he's not he did a whole wreck on a lot of cases. They said that he worked over like 200 cases. So.
Oh, your birthday's this Sunday, Lavina? Oh, if I'm on a live, and if not, then we'll have to do like a belated one or whatever. Right? Humano. Hey, Christina Baker. Thought about you too when I heard the charges finally. Yeah, I know. I'm excited to do a live on it, and then there's some other things I want to read, like Libra sent me like the transcripts with the Melanie Gibb phone call and stuff like that. So not only that, there's other things with that case that I want to like different documents that maybe even are a week or so old that I want to go over because I've been so behind with that case. I've been like so into these new ones that if Libra wouldn't even have told me about these new charges, I did. And this was like one of my big cases besides Watts Valo. I have like I think almost like 150 videos on Valo. Like I was so into this case, and then I just stopped kind of looking into it because there was really nothing going on. Once in a while there was a hearing here and there, so like sometimes I'll go like a couple weeks without, and then you look, there's something huge and I would have missed it. But anyway, so Bridget, hey, I see you this time, Bridget.
Like, I have to thank my mom. I have to thank my mom actually because I had not had the TV turned on. I was in the room playing the Lego Villains game, and my mom called me and she's like, Court TV just released the drop bomb, and I was like, what? She told me, and I was like, okay, and I started texting you, and I was like, all right, it's going down. So then I started searching for stuff, and it's big. It's a big deal. Thanks for letting me know. I was like on my walk and she's like texting me. I'm like, so then I started looking up all these freaking documents and I'm like emailing my stuff, all this stuff that I want to do on the live as I'm walking. So like, so I want to get that all. So that's why I want to end at 9:30 so I can just get it all kind of organized a little bit as much as I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you explain the transcripts that I sent you for Melody Gibb? Do you want me to just text you about that?
Yeah, we'll see. I'll just see how, like, as I'm reading it, because yeah, I'll let you know. There's just these couple parts where I'm confused because it's like set up in one kind of what do you call it? Like one kind of thing, and then it changes. So I'm like, why are you doing it like here where you're listing out the names, and then you're saying Melanie said this? So why? It doesn't make sense. I don't understand those parts. But let's talk about that a little bit later because I want to get the transcripts. But yeah, text me. Do you know what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's because it was sent out of order when I hit the paper on my gallery. I accidentally hit the wrong one.
No, I'm not even talking about that though. No, you must not. No, I'm talking about it's within the actual. It's within the messages. Yeah, it's not.
Listen, because I've got the edited version that Ann Cushing released. That's why.
Yeah, but I think okay.
She released it. There's some things in there that they have left out. They've only released certain parts of that to the public right now because the full transcript for the phone call was a 90-minute phone call.
So which one is better? Is that the one you sent me? Just the Ann?
Yeah, that's the only one I could find.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's oh yeah, those pictures. You know what? I'll just try to find some pictures because we don't got time to have you like okay all of those. You know, it's fine. It's not even a big deal. We'll show them next time.
We can do it next time if you want.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I could go through it and just do it next time.
Okay. Okay, so let's start this up. I'll post the link for the transcripts if you guys want to read along. At times I probably will be showing the transcripts if you guys want to read, but the times I might be in the chat or I might be showing pictures and stuff. So, but I'll put it in case you guys want to make sure you're reading it. But yeah, you guys could go ahead and start. Really?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, Mr. Bevel, would you please?
Oh, sorry, I don't have it up.
Oh
wait, Gail Stir. I had to say sorry. I had to say hi, Gail Stir. I like saying her name.
You're good.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm ready to go when you are, Leaps.
All right, Mr. Bevel, would you please tell us what your occupation is?
Yes, sir. I'm the owner of TBI, Forensic Education and Consultant.
Okay, and what does TBI Forensic Consulting do?
About 3/4 of the work is teaching either basic or advanced 40-hour bloodstain pattern analysis courses. There's also a basic crime scene reconstruction school that is 40 hours, and then simply lectures, and approximately 1/4 of the work would probably be casework such as this.
How long have you been the owner of TBI?
Since 1979.
Okay. Were you previously employed with the police department? Hello?
I'm on mute. We lost Bella. She's not back. She must have just lost. She'll probably be back in a minute. I'm going to put up a banner though I'm sure something just happened. Maybe her internet. I don't know. So let me see here. Sorry guys. I'll be in chat in a minute, guys. I'm just getting this banner up so we could. I'm waiting for Bella so I could let her in. Is that to be? Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong one. I'm on part 2. Hold on. Oh, jeez. It's like, why does that not make sense? Okay, there's Bella.
Sorry. I don't know why it kicked me out. Okay, are we at the same place?
I'm 15. Let's just start at 15. Okay. Were you previously employed with the police department?
Yes, sir. I retired May 1st of this year from the Oklahoma City Police Department.
Okay, and what rank did you hold at the time of your retirement?
I was a captain at the time of my retirement. I was in charge of 4 units, which was homicide, robbery, missing persons, and major unsolved cases.
Okay. As a police officer, did you deal with technical investigations?
Yes, sir, I did. In fact, a great amount of my time was actually assigned either in technical investigations or the forensic lab, and would have approximately 25 years experience in that area.
All right. When we talk about technical investigations, what are we talking about there?
We're talking about the processing of the crime scene, looking for the evidence, the collection, documentation, photography, measuring, sketching of any of the physical evidence that might be related to a possible crime scene.
All right. Do you have any experience in fingerprint identification?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you have any experience in bloodstain pattern analysis?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you also have experience in crime scene reconstruction?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you hold any certifications or degrees in those particular specialties, sir?
Yes, I do. I have a certificate for the 40-hour course in bloodstain pattern analysis. Actually, I have two of them in the basic area. One of those was taught in Orlando, Florida, in conjunction with the Orlando, Florida Medical Examiner's Office and the local police department. And I have a 40-hour certificate again in bloodstain pattern analysis from the Laboratory of Forensic Science in Corning, New York. And then advanced studies again in bloodstain pattern from Elmira College in Elmira, New York. Crime scene reconstruction was taught as a discipline at the Hendon Police College, which is in London, England. I attended a course there that was 6 weeks in duration on forensic science, and a big portion of that was crime scene reconstruction, physical evidence. A graduate of the Central U.S. Police Institute, again, a 4-week course dealing specifically with physical evidence and also crime scene reconstruction, and again, some others.
Okay. Do you belong to any professional associations or societies?
Yes, sir. Member of the American Academic of Forensic Science, the Southwest Association of Forensic Scientists, was the charter president for both the Association of Crime Scene Reconstruction and for the International Association of Bloodstain Pattern Analysts. 1981 was named member for the British Academy of Forensic Science and named also a fellow for the British Fingerprint Society. And again, some others.
Have you taught courses in bloodstain pattern analysis and crime scene reconstruction?
Yeah. Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, what types of classes have you taught?
Well, they've been somewhat varied. Some of them have been through colleges or universities. Some of them have been through police agencies or training academies. Of course, some of them are 40 hours in duration. Some of them are just a simple day or two lectures, such as the National College of District Attorneys, the Southern Police Institute. Again, various groups.
Okay. Have you also taught courses in foreign countries?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. Have you had any articles published in professional journals, Mr. Bevel?
Yes, I have. Several articles have been published either on bloodstain pattern analysis or crime scene reconstruction. They have appeared, for example, in the Journal of Forensic Identification, which is a publication for the International Association for Identification, for the Association of Crime Scene Reconstruction newsletter. Let's see. Southwest Association of Forensic Sciences. I had some published there. And then I have a book, a hardback book coming out with the CRC Press under the Forensic Science series, which it is actually under. And the title is Bloodstain Pattern Analysis with an Introduction to Crime Scene Reconstruction. It'll be out in May.
Has the FBI ever referred cases to you from other agencies?
Yes, sir. They have referred approximately 11 or 12 cases from other agencies, and then I've worked on 2 cases that they were investigating themselves.
Have you ever had occasion to come down to this part of Texas to work on any cases?
Yes, sir. A number of years ago, Camp Verde, Texas. I worked a case there. Then one for Kerrville, and there's actually several cases in the general area.
Okay. In the case in Kerrville, did you actually testify here?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bevel, in this case, did I ask you to look at certain bloodstain patterns?
You did, sir.
All right. And do you recall when I first called you or contacted you about this case?
It was the 1st of September.
All right. And before that time, had you and I ever spoken to each other or met or worked on any cases together?
We have not.
Okay. Prior to that time, had you done any work for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office?
For the DA's office, no, I have not.
All right. After I spoke with you at some point, did you come to my office in Dallas and meet with me?
Yes, sir, I did.
Was that some point in September also?
I believe September 11th.
All right. And at that time, did you have the opportunity to review certain pieces of evidence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for instance, did you have a chance at that point to look at the crime scene photos?
That's correct.
Did you also have a chance to look at the autopsy photographs regarding Devin and Damon Routier?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you look at a t shirt, which in this case is State's Exhibit number 25, a Victoria's Secret nightshirt? Did you look at that also?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a chance to look at the carpet that came out of the family room at 5801 Eagle Drive?
I have.
In addition, did you have an opportunity to look at a vacuum cleaner that had been taken out of 5801 Eagle Drive?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Did you meet with me in my office up there at the courthouse?
Yes, sir.
Did you also, during that trip, have an opportunity to go out to Swift's and talk to the people out there?
Yes, sir.
Did you also have the opportunity to go out to the Rolette Police Department and view certain other evidence out there?
Yes, sir, I went out there.
Now, during your trip in September, did you have the opportunity to go inside the house there at 5801 Eagle Drive?
On my first trip, I did not. Access to the house we didn't have permission, I guess.
Okay. Did you have a chance to drive by the house?
I did drive by it, yes, sir.
Now, after your trip to Dallas in September, did you come back to Dallas again?
Yes, sir.
When did you come back?
I came back several times. I will have to get a sheet to give you the exact dates.
Okay.
Okay. The first trip was September 11th through the 12th. The next trip was September the 19th, and then October 1st and 2nd, and then November the 26th.
Okay. Did you ever have the opportunity to go into the house there at 5801 Eagle Drive during any of your trips?
Yes, sir, I did. And that was on November 26th.
Mr. Bevel, I just want to kind of start at the beginning here and, if you will, kind of teach me about bloodstain patterns. Are there different kinds of bloodstain patterns?
Yes, sir, there certainly are.
What are the different kinds?
We generally, as a descriptive term, will break them down into three basic categories, which, referring to the velocity of the separation from whatever the blood source is and how fast they were traveling in space. So the first category will be low velocity. A low velocity would be, for example, if I had a cut on the end of my finger as blood is accumulating down to the end of the finger, the molecular traction and the surface tension of the blood droplet is actually trying to hold on, but of course gravity is trying to pull it downward. And once it reaches a sufficient volume to where it is able to overcome the surface tension, then it will break away and it will simply fall straight downward. And if it falls to, for example, the floor, or if it would fall to the podium here, it would be basically round once it gets done through the dynamics of impacting and spreading out and ultimately settling. Now, if I had the same cut on my finger and I were to start swinging my hand, I'm introducing additional force here other than just simply gravity. And due to the centrifugal force on the movement of the blood pulling down to the end of the finger, it would break away and this blood droplet would be considerably smaller than what the low velocity blood droplet would be, just simply due to gravitational separation. And the last category in the general descriptive term, again, is high velocity. High velocity, if I had my hand up and it were to be shot with a firearm, the bullet strike in the hand, would be possible to produce blood that would refer to as back spatter. And that would be blood coming back in the direction from where the gun was actually being fired. Upon exit of the bullet, that would be referred to as forward splatter for blood going in the same direction. There are some general terms as far as definitions. For example, low velocity is typically 5 feet per second or lower. Medium velocity is generally 5 to 25 feet per second. Okay, this is annoying that he's doing this to this is in the beginning of DNA. I'm sorry, I have to just say this. This is in the beginning of juries understanding DNA. And he's going this does not seem simple to me for a jury to understand upon the first introduction of blood spatter analysis. And this is an author and a teacher. So just wanted to say that because it's just weird, but okay. Mm-hmm. Medium velocity is generally 5 to 25 feet per second, and then high velocity, generally associated with firearms or high-speed machinery, that would typically be 100 feet per second or greater. To give you some ideas of what we're talking about, 100 feet per second would be approximately 67 miles an hour.
All right, let me throw out some terms and see if you can define these for me. A transfer. What is a transfer?
Okay. Yes, sir. If I had blood on my hand, and if I were, for example, to come in contact with my coat, tie, and shirt, there would be transference of blood from my bloody hand, assuming that it's still wet, to those items. Now, you will never have 100% transfer. Even though there may be some impression of blood on the clothing, there will still be an impression of blood or residue of blood on the item that generally held the blood.
Okay, how about the term spatter?
Spatter is generically, a lot of people refer to spatter as just simply the overall term for bloodstain pattern analysis. But within our field, it is specifically talking about blood that has been separated due to a force. So, for example, if I had blood on my hand, and if it was impacted by something, the blood coming from the impact would be referred to as blood spatter.
How about the term cast off?
If you have some object that has blood, and again, I can just simply use my hand. As I'm swinging my hand, the centrifugal force pulling the blood away from the end of my appendages, as they end up, as the blood separates, it will go out. And if I'm swinging hard enough, well, I doubt it would reach the ceiling, but it could go in front of me to the area above me and also behind me.
Okay, when you go out to a crime scene and you look at bloodstain patterns, what kind of information can you obtain from looking at them?
We're trying to identify the occurrences that took place in order to produce the bloodstains as they were found. In essence, it's a form of the crime scene reconstruction, but it's a narrow form because we're dealing specifically with bloodstain patterns. So as I look at a particular pattern, one of the first things I try to do is determine if it's consistent with low, medium, or high velocity occurrence. And that will automatically include or exclude certain actions as being possible depending upon the category that it may fall in. So we're trying to determine what caused the blood stain as it is found at the crime scene.
What is it that allows you to do that? How do you determine those type of things?
Well, it's primarily from obviously the education as to the dynamics, the cause and effect, if you would. Bloodstains are uniform in character. And of course, if they were not, we couldn't use it as a scientifically valid discipline. What I'm saying there is, if I had the same volume of blood on the same surface and I had the same occurrence impacted, the same type of bloodstain pattern should result each and every time that I do that, providing that everything is equal, the same amount of blood, same surface, same impact. Now, as you start changing that, then the bloodstain patterns, for example, their size, their distribution, the direction of travel, the numbers of them, all of those can change. And what you end up finding should be consistent with the occurrence that took place in order to produce them.
Mr. Bevel, prior to testifying today, have you had an opportunity to look at photographs taken of the utility floor there at 5801 Eagle Drive?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. Specifically, I'm showing you now States Exhibit 38A, B, C, and D. Do you recognize these photographs, sir?
I do.
Okay. Now, looking at the blood on the floor of this utility room, sir, how would you categorize the blood that we see here on the floor?
They are low velocity blood drops simply falling down from above, impacting the floor. Just simply that. Low velocity, 90-degree blood droplets.
Okay. Would they be consistent with an individual standing and bleeding where she is dripping blood on the floor?
That certainly could be the cause, yes, sir.
Now, during your trip to 5801 Eagle Drive on November 26th, Mr. Bevel, did you have an opportunity to go into the utility room itself and look at the floor?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And looking at these photographs here, 38A, B, C, and D, let me ask you to assume that an individual standing in the utility room, that individual is holding a butcher knife. And I believe that you have actually seen that butcher knife. It states exhibit number 67. Have you actually seen that knife, sir? Mr. Mosty?
Oh, wait, we need to have a hearing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's necessary from time to time that we have the hearings on points of law outside of your presence. If you will retire to the jury room, please. All right, thank you. All right, let the record reflect that these proceedings are being held outside of the presence of the jury and all parties of the trial are present. All right, Mr. Hagler.
Let me just explain to the court the nature of our request for this hearing, Your Honor.
All right.
We're not here to say that this individual is not an expert in certain areas of blood spattering. On the other hand, from what I understand, we anticipate that he is going to testify as to more than simply blood spattering in this residence. We anticipate that he is going to be given testimony, his own opinion, I guess, so-called, expert testimony as to certain factors or certain events that occurred during the alleged offense. And Your Honor, the state is offering this expert testimony, and they are being the proponent of this testimony. They bear the burden of proving that such testimony has both relevance and reliability. And if I might, I'm going to kind of give the court an overview of what our objection is going to be. And then I would ask that the court instruct the prosecutor to develop the testimony that he intends to elicit through the witness. And then we can finish by making our objections, and the court can rule if that's a satisfactory proceeding.
That is fine.
Your Honor, again, merely because this individual might be an expert does not necessarily mean that he is an expert to testify in all areas of his necessary field. In other words, there are certain areas that the state is required to establish that there is expert testimony under Section 702 that would aid and assist the jury. And furthermore, that such testimony is based on reliable testimony and the fact that it is relevant. Now, I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but we have already gotten into this matter about the t-shirt in States Exhibit 25. And the court, I know, is well aware of our position already, and the court has already ruled on that. But again, we want to make sure that the court is fully aware of the fact.
Yes, I am.
That we anticipate this witness to be testifying as to the evidence that was obtained off of State Exhibit number 25, informing his conclusions as to things such as, I understand he is going to testify as how the knife was allegedly used, how it was held, how it was raised, position of it, etc. And again, our position in this area is that he may be able to testify as to where some blood dots are on a shirt or material, on the floor or on the wall. But there has been no showing that the science has developed to the point where an individual can give an opinion supported by scientific reliability and research and what have you. That would allow him to give such an opinion under Section 702. Now, I know the court is aware of several cases, but just so the record is clear, I would like to cite these in the record for the court, of course. One of them is the U.S. Supreme Court decision on Dauber. It's 113 Supreme Court 2786, D-A-U-B-E-R-T, 113 Supreme Court 2786. And Dauber is a significant decision because it virtually rewrote the area of law regarding the admissibility of expert witness testimony. The Supreme Court of the United States held that
the court is familiar with the decision, but go ahead and put that in.
Well, I would like to make sure that everyone is aware. I know you have read the case, Your Honor, but I just want to repeat it again. But the court held that you, as the trial judge, have a responsibility and a heavy responsibility as being the gatekeeper in determining what expert testimony is both reliable and relevant. And you have to make that determination. Now, I might also mention that Daubert has also been adopted by the Texas court in Robinson 923 Southwest 2nd 549. Kind of basically, Your Honor, in the Robinson case, what the court stated to the, or at least set out kind of a roadmap for the trial judges to follow in determining whether or not to allow so-called expert testimony. The court has to make a number of determinations. And again, it's not our burden. It's the burden right over here for the prosecutor, for the state to establish the reliability of such testimony. Again, I am zeroing in on this witness, and we anticipate his testimony as to a number of things. And I have already mentioned those. But again, some of these areas, as far as expert testimony, as far as his theory as to why he can predict, and we would urge it's more in the nature of speculations as opposed to anything based on scientific principles. The several factors have been set out for this court to consider. That being the extent to which the theory has been used and tested, the extent to which the technique relies upon the subjective interpretation of the expert. That is one area in particular here where we're saying that in this particular area that there is a heavy emphasis on the subjective interpretation by this witness. And there's no basis in the scientific research or data that would support his expert opinion testimony.
We have not heard it yet, but let's go ahead with your...
Well, I understand. I kind of got this ahead, Judge, so I don't have to go backwards and kind of give the court a roadmap here.
Okay, thank you.
Furthermore, one of the theories has been subjected to peer review and or publications. The technique's potential rate of error, whether the underlying theory or technique has been generally accepted as valid by the relevant scientific community. That is the old Fry test, which has been pretty much changed by Rule 702, and the non-judicial uses which have been made of the theory or technique. So again, under the Daubert and Robinson line of cases, we would ask that the state establish the reliability and relevance of this testimony. And we would urge that it is not. We would anticipate that our objection is going to be from what we have heard so far, that it is not going to be admissible under 702, 703, and 705.
All right.
And furthermore, we would ask, in the event that the court does, again, we would ask the court to also take into mind the 403 balancing test rule.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And if you go ahead and question, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Bevel, how many times have you testified as an expert witness in this area of bloodstain pattern analysis?
It's in the hundreds.
Okay. How many times have you testified in the state of Texas as a bloodstain pattern analysis?
I don't know the exact number, but probably 40 or 50 times.
40 to 50 times?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any idea of the number of states in which you have testified as an expert in bloodstain pattern analysis?
That I have actually testified, I think somewhere in the range of probably about 18 to 22, somewhere in there.
Okay. Now, have you heard Mr. Hagler talk about the length of time that these techniques have been in use by your profession?
Yes.
How long have the techniques been used for bloodstain pattern analysis?
Well, prior to the 1900s, there is a great amount of literature studying, for example, the different types of patterns that are created under certain circumstances, the directionality. Prior to the 1900s, they even developed the mathematical principle of the long and the short axis, being able to do inverse arc sine, so you could determine what the impact angle was. So it certainly predates 1900s. There have been some very excellent papers done, for example, by the French, well in advance of the 1900s. And then there just is simply a whole lot more since that time.
Now, this is a discipline in which the results are dependent upon your subjective readings, or is there an objectivity to the technique also?
Well, certainly there is an objectivity, and we are primarily dealing with a cause and effect relationship. If we're not able to recognize the type of patterns that are produced, then we certainly have to go into objective testing so that we can try and determine what occurrence may have taken place in order to produce them. But once you've done most of the experiments that are within the basic 40-hour course, the advanced course, the additional experimentation, you have been exposed to the majority of the real common ones so that you're able to recognize them without actually being forced to do experimentation.
How about peer review? Have these techniques been reviewed by peers in your field?
In many areas, yes, sir.
Okay. And have your techniques been accepted as scientifically valid?
They have been accepted, if not all 50 states, very close to all 50 U.S. states and many foreign countries.
Have they been accepted as scientifically valid in the state of Texas?
They have.
Now, if I may, I can summarize for the court at this time the opinions that I expect to elicit from this witness. I expect this witness to testify that the patterns found here in the photographs 38A through D are inconsistent with an individual dropping or throwing a bloody knife on the utility room floor. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify about tests that he performed on the utility room floor himself on November the 26th, 1996, when he threw and dropped a bloody knife, States Exhibit 67, on the floor. I expect for him to testify that those results are inconsistent with what we see here in 38A through D. I expect Mr. Bevel to look at States Exhibit 111A and B, which are the photographs showing the imprint of the knife on the carpet. I expect for him to testify about a test he performed on November 26th, where he took States Exhibit 67, put blood on that knife, and then laid the knife on the carpet, and then also dropped or threw the knife on the carpet. I expect for him to testify that in his opinion that the imprint shown in States Exhibit 111A and 111B are consistent with the bloody knife, States Exhibit number 67 having been laid down on the carpet at 5801 Eagle Drive. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify with regard to the State's Exhibit number 93, the vacuum cleaner, that he found evidence of blood drops on the vacuum cleaner, and that those drops were deposited while the vacuum cleaner was standing upright while it was laying down on the floor, that he found a smear on the handle consistent with the individual placing her bloody hand on that handle. I also expect Mr. Bevel to testify that he saw evidence of roll marks near the kitchen sink at 5801 Eagle Drive, that those marks are consistent with State's Exhibit number 93, the vacuum cleaner having been rolled through the blood shortly after the blood was deposited on the floor. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify that he would expect the intruder to have blood on his hands, or at least one hand, when he entered the garage, when he exited out this window, and when he exited the backyard. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify with regards to the sock that is in evidence that he would expect under the scenario in which two children were stabbed and that the defendant was wounded with the knife and a struggle occurred, that he would expect to see the defendant's blood on that sock rather than the two boys' blood. With regards to the t-shirt, I expect Mr. Bevel to testify with regards to the stain sample shown as T10, that being a stain showing to be a mixture between Devon and Darlie Routier, that is cast off blood. That is not a transfer from one portion of the t-shirt to another, and that the movement of the stain is up or down to up. With regards to State's Exhibit number, again, these are shown as on State's Exhibit 120 with regards to the sample labeled T9, that being a mixture between Damon and Darlie Routier. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify that is a cast off, that is not a transfer from one part of the shirt to another, and that the movement of the one is down to up. I expect with regards to sample LS1, that being a mixture between Damon and Darlie Routier, that Mr. Bevel will testify that that is also a cast off blood, and that is not the product of a transfer from one part of the t-shirt
to another. And with regards to stain LS3, I expect Mr. Bevel to testify that also is a mixture of Devon and Darlie Routier that is cast off. That is not the product of transfer from one portion of the t-shirt to another. And with regards to stain T15 on State's Exhibit number 121, Mr. Mosty?
What page are we on?
17.
17. Okay,
We're
hold
at
on.
25. You're good.
25. Oh, up here, 25. Sorry, I was trying to get some pictures to
Good.
share, and that's all I didn't know. Are you on the back now?
Yeah, I'm on the back. That is on the back of the t-shirt. That being a stain coming back to Devon Routier. That is also cast off. That the direction on the stain is either up or down, the long axis being in the direction in and up and down fashion. That stain is also not the product of transfer from one part of the shirt to another. With regards to stain T15, again on the back, I expect Mr. Bevel to testify that the stain is consistent with the defendant leaning over the victim, Devin Routier, and stabbing him, and that product, that stain, T15, is the product of the withdrawal of the knife from the victim and the blood then going over her right shoulder and depositing her back, T10 and T9, on the right front portion of the t-shirt. Oh my goodness. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify that those are also the product of the defendant leaning over these two victims, Devin and Damon Routier, stabbing them, and then withdrawing the knife, and that the stains are consistent with that motion. I expect Mr. Bevel to testify on LS1 and LS3 that those two stains are consistent with the defendant leaning over, stabbing Devin and Damon Routier, and that the stains are consistent with the heel of her hand coming in contact with the stab wound area of each boy, producing the cast off showing in LS1 and LS3. I believe that concludes the opinion that I expect Mr. Bevel to testify to.
Mr. Mosty or Mr. Hagler?
May I inquire of Mr. Davis something?
You may. All right. Back on record.
All right. May I take the witness on voir dire?
You may.
And to focus in on
Sure.
some of these particular things?
You may.
Mr. Bevel, let's just talk in general of these statements. When you say that this is inconsistent with a knife being dropped, or that this action is consistent with a cast off. Now, first you have identified the blood and the angle and all of those things, and that is not what I'm talking about here. Once you make that statement of inconsistent, or that it is consistent with this, or it is inconsistent with that, you are not excluding all other possibilities, are you?
Well, that would depend on which area.
Okay, I was hoping we could do this a little easier, but we're going to have to go through them one by one. Let's talk about the knife on to the linoleum. Your testimony, as I understand, would be that the linoleum that you observed in November was inconsistent with having a knife dropped on it.
Inconsistent with a knife dropping on a linoleum that had blood on it.
Okay, now at that time, first, did you know whether or not that the area had been cleaned at all, or the linoleum that you observed?
Well, cleaned from when? I know that there were still individual blood droplets were still there, so it had not been cleaned to get those blood droplets up.
It had not been cleaned completely?
Well, I don't have any knowledge of that. It was, if it was cleaned at all.
You don't know one way or another was some of it cleaned, or was some of it not cleaned? Sorry.
No, I'm having a hard time with some of this
Some of this way that the wording is like,
Yeah.
who talks like that? I don't know.
It does seem if there was any cleaning, I'm unaware of it, and there's certainly no evidence that there was.
Okay, I'm not going to try to argue with you. You don't know one way or another, do you?
Well, I gave my answer.
Do you know one way or another?
I do not know. There's no evidence to indicate that there was any cleaning had been done, whatever. Sorry.
So that means you don't know, right?
Well, I'll answer it again, sir.
Well, let's don't do that. I'm not going to play that game with you.
Well, now, I think the witness understands, and I think he has answered the question.
Had it been dusted for prints?
Had that, you mean the floor itself?
The entire linoleum floor.
I have no knowledge that it was dusted for prints.
Don't know one way or another?
There's no evidence that there was any fingerprint powder on that area.
Had the furniture been moved out of it?
I don't have any knowledge.
Was there furniture in it?
I don't have any knowledge. You hear that, guys? He has no knowledge, okay? I don't have any knowledge other than what the photographs depict.
I'm talking about on the day when you were there on the 26th. Was there furniture there in the room?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Okay, so if there were furniture in it at that time of the crime, then that furniture had been moved out.
That's correct.
Okay, did you see the evidence of some of the blood on the linoleum having been disturbed at different places?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware whether or not originally there were or were not rugs in the room?
In the room itself?
Yes. Yes.
I don't have,
It's like a question.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't have any knowledge of there being rugs in the room. No, sir.
One way or another.
No, sir.
Okay, when you were there were no rugs.
That is correct.
All right. Now these experiments that you did, and I understand this is taking a knife and dropping it on the linoleum floor.
Yes, sir.
Did you take any notes of Oh,
I knew it was coming.
I
I'm
know.
surprised. Photographs.
Okay. Where are those photographs? May I see them?
I don't have them.
Who took them?
The Rolette Police Department.
Who has them?
Either the Rolette Police Department or the prosecution. I'm not sure.
You haven't seen them?
Well, I have not seen them since they have been developed. No, sir.
Okay. You don't have those photographs with you.
They are back there.
Okay. Can we get them? We're going to need to get into all of this stuff. I was hoping to do it quicker, but I'm not going to be able to.
I was under the assumption that these photographs were viewed when they came up there to my office in December and looked at all of the photographs. But yes, if they weren't, then I will certainly be happy to bring them out to you.
Well, I need them very briefly, and I will move on to something else while we are getting them. But I need them very briefly to talk to him about this experiment.
All right. Let's bring them in.
Let me go see if they are back there.
Do you want us to go ahead?
You can go ahead. Toby is there.
Okay. You didn't take any notes of these experiments?
The only note taken was the fact that photographs were taken.
Let's try to be clear. I'm talking about you sitting down and saying experiment number 1. You didn't do that, did you?
I did not.
Now, did you document in your notes, for instance, how much blood you loaded on the knife?
By weighing it or any manner?
Any manner.
I simply had the blade covered with blood.
Had the blade, oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Had the blade covered with blood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was it dripping or not dripping?
It was not dripping at all, with exception of one.
Okay.
What? One of the knives was dripping? What does that mean?
I think one of the times he probably did it, right? Because he probably did it a few times. That's what I was thinking. I don't know, though. Okay. One time you had it dripping.
That's what it is. Yes, sir.
How many experiments did you do?
Of simply dropping the knife into the area?
Onto the linoleum. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, let me be specific. In multiple areas, in other words, not just there, but on the linoleum and other areas.
I'm talking about any linoleum testing. How many times did you drop the knife?
Approximately 8.
Okay. You can't verify that?
I think we could by looking at all of the photographs. Yes, sir.
You think you could? Well, you didn't take any notes of anything?
No, sir.
Now, in each time, did you put the knife in both sides in the blood and completely got the knife bloody?
I did that and then held the knife up until it ceased dripping blood.
You tapped it?
Until it ceased dripping blood.
You held it up, or did you tap it into the pan?
At various times, I probably did both.
Okay.
But the point was that the blood had ceased dripping.
Okay, but sometimes you dipped it in the pan before you dropped it, and sometimes you held it over.
No, sir.
Okay, which did you do?
I'm not sure I understand your point.
Well, you said sometimes you may have tapped it and sometimes you may not have.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know how many times you tapped it in there before, which experiments you tapped it in there and which you didn't?
No, sir, because I was always after each time the same result, which was the blood to cease dripping.
Okay, so you held it up and the blood ceased dripping.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then what did you do?
Simply stood and dropped it onto the floor.
The first time, how high were you when you dropped it?
Approximately waist high each time.
Approximately?
Yes, sir.
You didn't verify that? How high that was?
No, sir.
Okay, how high is that?
Approximately how high is approximately weight? Oh, that's you.
That was me.
Sorry.
It's all right. Approximately how high is approximately waist high?
Well,
On you?
like that.
I presume you're talking about you.
I don't know. I mean, I just have to come back in, and I was thinking that this was the test, the qualifications of this witness to render a certain opinion.
Well, it is.
Well, there are two phases to it. One is he's going to testify about these experiments that are not scientifically valid experiments. That is part of it. And then the second is then he goes on to say that this is consistent or not. There are two parts to it.
Perhaps we could have him describe in narrative form how he did these things. And if you have any questions, just ask about that. Is that satisfactory?
I'll try to do anything that moves things along.
Let's move it along. We are not letting you use this for discovery. Now, I'll instruct the witness. Do not be evasive in your answers. Answer them straight. They are pretty simple questions. Answer them straight. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Of the approximate 8 experiments, precisely what did you do?
Each time the knife was or had blood added to both sides, it was held in an upright position, separate from the blood source. The blood was allowed to, for all practical purposes, cease dripping off of the end of the knife blade as it's held in a vertical position with the point of the knife blade downward. And then it was just simply allowed to drop from approximately my waist high onto the floor.
Okay.
And in order to do this multiple times, you had to move to different areas so that you were not depositing the knife onto the same area.
On each time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there's no way for me now to go out there and replicate that experiment, is there?
Judge, we are going to have to object. This is just a discovery hearing, and it is not proper under 705. He's gone beyond the bounds.
I understand I'll let him answer. I don't know what he's going to answer to this question. Go ahead. Don't discover. We're trying to get through this hearing.
Exactly what are we objecting to?
Well, is that me? Yeah. Well, I have got to get this. This is a Dauber objection, and it is a unique area of the law.
Well, it is a unique area of the law, but it's not a discovery hearing, so don't make it that.
And I don't intend for it to be discovery.
All right, fine. I don't understand what we're doing.
In other words, there's no way another scientist can go out there and say, I'm going to drop this knife precisely from 34 inches.
No, sir, but to answer your prior question, if I may.
No, you did just answer my prior question.
Well,
my prior question is, there is no way for another scientist to say precisely the height from which you dropped that.
Your Honor, may I answer the prior question?
Jeez.
Well, go ahead and answer it. No. Just answer this. That's enough. I understand where we're going. Let's go.
There is no way to identify precisely how high you dropped it.
For each time, no, sir.
Okay. And there's no way to identify that each time you dropped it from precisely the same height.
That's correct.
And there's no way to determine whether each time the knife had the same volume of blood on it.
That's correct.
And then the second part of this, that is the experiment part, was a photograph taken of each and every experiment or not?
I cannot answer that. I was not taking the photographs. I believe that most of them were photographed. Yes, sir.
There's no written protocol that you have that you could hand to another expert and say, this is the exact experiment that I did.
I disagree with that.
There is a written protocol that you have for this experiment?
I can write a protocol explaining what I did that Mr. Labor or Epstein could then follow suit to determine whether or not it was consistent or inconsistent with the dropping of the knife, blood covered onto the floor.
Mr. Bevel, this was simply my question. Is there a written protocol that you have prepared that describes this experiment?
That was written currently?
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. And the second part of that you say you're going to testify that is inconsistent with a knife dropping on the floor from waist high, I guess.
No, sir. What you stated, I'm not going to state that.
Well, what is going to be the sum of your opinion on that?
That a knife that has blood on it, dropped from approximately waist high onto that floor, will produce stains that are consistent with a knife that has blood on it falling onto the floor.
Okay.
The court understands that position. Now let's move on.
Okay. There's no additional testing that can be done to independently verify your opinion, is there? Other than somebody else, other than you just doing that.
Well, somebody else can do exactly what I've described and make a determination in their opinion.
But there's nothing further beyond that. No additional test that can be done other than that to verify the accuracy of what you observed.
Well, I don't know how else you would go about doing it. No, sir, other than that.
Now, the experiment where you laid the knife on the carpet, let's move to that one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did I describe that correctly? What was the experiment?
Where we did basically... Miss Wallace, can you have a seat at the council table, please?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot.
Where we basically did the same thing that we just previously talked about, where the knife. And would you get that book back from her and bring it back up here right now?
Oh,
I'm sorry, Judge. She was sharing it with me.
Well, just put it there.
Yes, sir.
Now let's get on with the hearing.
Oh my gosh.
Basically, the same thing we just described, where the knife had a blood source that was added to it. It was held up to where the blood, for all practical purposes, ceased dripping. And then it was just simply laid down at various times. It was just simply dropped from approximately waist high again. And then at other times, it was actually thrown.
Oh my God. Okay. So again, we have the same thing with the waist high. There is no way to identify exactly how high that was.
To precisely identify that, no, sir.
And the times that it was it thrown with a hand? I mean, how did you throw it?
With my hand.
Okay. And
well, isn't it sufficient to say it was thrown? And is there a protocol to that? Is that the next question? I mean, can we just keep the question in the same line? I understand what you're trying to demonstrate.
How many times did you toss the knife?
I would say approximately 5 to 6 times, somewhere in that range.
Okay. And again, you cannot be sure of the exact number.
No, sir. I said approximately 5 to 6 times, somewhere in that range. Oh, sorry.
Where did you get that? Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. And you, of those, how many times was it thrown, or how many times was it simply dropped from waist high?
Now we're talking about 2 different occurrences there, but just simply dropping again somewhere in that same range, 5 to 6 times.
Okay. Now, what was the first 5 to 6 you were describing? Was that the tossing?
Freaking knives. Tossing. They were separate, yes, sir.
All right. And from what height did you toss it?
Well, it would depend upon when it was let go.
And I cannot reproduce that, can I?
To be exact, no, sir.
Okay, I could not reproduce. Did you toss it underhanded?
I did it both.
Okay, you tossed it overhanded and underhanded.
Primarily underhanded.
Okay, and there is no way for me or anyone now to reproduce how hard you swung your arm when you...
Sir, not precisely.
Okay.
All right, I think we understand. The court understands that. Can we move on, please?
With respect to the expectation of blood on the hand, there's no way of being on one hand, not two. Is that what Mr. Davis said you were going to testify to?
I'm not.
That you would expect blood to be on one hand. At least on one hand is that... What? At least on one hand is that... Am I wrong?
What are we talking about here? Blood on the hand in reference to what?
Of the assailant.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That was the part that I was not clear on. If the assailant is the person who has left the blood that is running on the door as you exit the utility room, then that would certainly be consistent with the blood on at least one hand. Now, whether or not that means there's blood on the other hand, I do not know.
Okay. On the sock, the statement was that you expect that your opinion would be that you would expect to see the defendant's blood rather than the boy's.
And that is incorrect.
Okay.
I would expect to see any of their blood on it. I would expect to see more of the mother's blood. I would not testify that I would expect to see the boy's blood.
Okay. And there's no way to independently verify or analyze that statement, is there?
Well...
Oh, it is simply your opinion.
Well, I disagree with your statement.
Okay.
Another person can come in with equal qualifications and do an analysis of the physical evidence and the information that is known, and they can make that their opinion.
Okay, but that is what it is. It's an opinion.
Certainly.
Okay, and there's no way to replicate the occurrences that led to that.
Not precisely, no, sir.
And there's no way to conduct any kind of objective test that says that opinion is right or that opinion is wrong.
I would have to agree with that.
Okay. And with respect to this, you can't exclude other possibilities, can you? For instance, that only small amounts of the boy's blood is on there? You cannot exclude that as being a reasonable probability.
I cannot exclude that. I can simply offer my opinion as to what I would expect based upon the story given, the physical evidence that is there, and the type of blood that has been lost.
Okay. Now, with respect to the t-shirt, are you not going to testify about experiments? Greg Davis, where are you?
I'm sorry. I was scrolling down. I'm sorry.
You're good.
With respect to cast-off blood and t-shirts, we're not going to testify about experiments.
Yes, we will be talking, but an experiment that he did with a t-shirt, I think that is the experiment that he talked to y'all about.
That's the one that I have got the video of.
Well, let's get right on it and just say what it is and ask your questions.
Well, I know what the experiment was, so we don't need to do that.
Thank you. Let's move on.
That experiment was when you are dipping the blood and you come up with the motion like this.
Yes, sir.
And that experiment, there is no written protocol for it, is there?
No, sir.
And again, there's no way to identify precisely how much blood is loaded onto that knife.
Precisely, no, sir.
And in that one, in fact, sometimes you dipped it in and then you went pretty much straight to movement.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the tapping?
Tapping into the pan.
Right. Trying to, again, cease the dripping.
Okay, but every time you're tapping the pan, you are reloading the point, aren't you?
No, sir.
You're not?
No, sir.
All right, but there's no way that someone can replicate that motion precisely.
Precisely, no, sir.
Okay, and as a matter of fact, the video that you have it can't even tell us how many times you did that motion, does it?
It can.
Well, not on my copy.
Well, it's all in the withdrawing.
How many times did you do it?
Well, now you may be referring to the fact that at the end of the video, I talked about going to a horizontal.
I'm not there yet. I'm
Okay.
talking about this part.
Okay. That documentation in its entirety was simply to show that that is an occurrence that can occur.
But you did not document every move like that, did you? On video?
Not every single move, no, sir.
Then the second part of that is on that one, you didn't take any notes of, I did this 5 times or 8 times or 10 times.
No, sir.
Okay, then in the second part of that video, the camera broke.
For the very last stage, the camera broke. But I do have the t-shirt that I can show you that was done at a particular point. So, I mean, it is here.
So, but as far as some other person being able to look at that and say, this is what Mr. Bevel did, and I would try to replicate it on the video, that video doesn't exist for the second part of that experiment.
For one occurrence, that is correct.
Okay, then let me try to focus here. You were going to testify about what you have described as cast-offs on the, can I say right front shoulder?
You can.
Okay, what about cast-offs on the left front shoulder?
There are some stains over there that could have come from cast off or spatter, given the size and location as to where it is.
Okay, but it was only mentioned the right shoulder, and that is the only one that you are going to testify about that is consistent with?
As far as coming off of the knife?
Yes.
In that particular movement?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and with respect to that, whether or not it's consistent or not consistent, you can't exclude other possibilities for that cast off, can you?
Not exclusively, no, sir. Okay, anything else? Is that it, Mr. Mosty?
With respect to the statements about that certain items are consistent with someone leaning over the victims, stabbing, those are going to be things that, again, that you might say are consistent, but you cannot exclude other possibilities or other ways that those bloodstains could have gotten on the back.
With complete certainty, I cannot exclude other possibilities.
Okay, then all you can ever really say about those cast-offs is that something is consistent or maybe there is a probability of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's it for the purpose of the hearing.
As far as our voir dire examination, Your Honor.
As far as the hearing is concerned.
We would like to make some objections, Your Honor.
Well, please make them. I think the court understands what you want to object to, so let's get on with it.
I'll be very brief, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, again, we would submit that the state has failed to satisfy their burden of proof under Daubert and Robinson, that the most that we have heard is opinion testimony, not based on any valid scientific theory of principles. His opinions are no more than what the jurors themselves could conclude. They are not based on, there's no reliance on the valid scientific principle of theory. As far as the t-shirt, Your Honor, again, we have already objected on the fact that it's going to be based on the evidence that has been contaminated and no showing of the chain of custody. Therefore, this testimony is not scientifically based on a valid evidentiary basis, Your Honor. In particular, there are areas where there has been no showing that his personal opinion testimony, is based on a theory that could allow him to testify as to how the assailant was positioned, how the knife was used, how it was raised, and how the victim was stabbed. There has been no showing of that. Likewise, the same thing goes, or is true with the fact that there is no basis for his opinion as to whether or not the knife was thrown or not thrown on the floor. And finally, Your Honor, as far as the areas about whether or not the intruder should have blood on his hands or whether or not the sock should have had more of the defendant's blood or the individual's blood on the sock, that is simply no more than his personal opinion. And he is being presented as an expert witness. And certainly the jury is going to take into account his credentials. And we would submit that it's going to be confusing and misleading to the jury. And we further say that his testimony is not admissible under Section 702, 703, and 705.
All right.
May I ask one question on voir dire?
One question.
There's no academy that, I'm getting a Charlie here, so sorry, or certificate that you can obtain to determine how much blood somebody gets on them when they stab someone, is there?
No, sir.
One more objection, Your Honor.
One more objection.
Your Honor, we are fully aware that Rule 704 allows an expert validly qualified expert to give an opinion on such an issue. But the fact of the matter is, in this case, with the sum of total of his opinions, it's more than simply an opinion as to an ultimate issue. It is simply an opinion as to the defendant's ultimate guilt, and therefore we would urge that the sum total of his opinion testimony before the jury would constitute a violation of the defendant's due process of rights.
Thank you.
And I would just like to be real clear about one thing. I'm not objecting to testimony, for instance, but what a cast off is, or what directionality is, or those things that are related to physical properties of blood and flight and blood and how it hits as to, angle of impact or whatever, that is not our objections. Our objections is to the experiments and the opinions or the conclusions that are drawn from those areas, which I believe do have a scientific basis.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right. The defense objections are overruled. The court feels that in the view of this expert's knowledge and experience, that this testimony is admissible because it may assist the jury in reaching a just verdict in this case. And I think that will satisfy the 401 and 403 balancing test. 2, the probative value far outweighs any prejudicial effect for the reasons stated. That having been done, let's bring the jury in. We have 35 minutes left. All right.
Could the record reflect a running objection, Your Honor?
Oh, yes, by all means. All right. Let the record reflect that all parties at the trial are present and the jury is seated. Mr. Davis.
Mr. Bevel, I believe I just asked you if you went out there to the residence on November 26th. Did you actually go into the utility room?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you have a chance to look at the flooring there?
Yes, sir, I did.
What was the appearance of the utility room floor there on November 26th?
There was, the furniture that previously had been there was not still in place. Some of the items, for example, in the photographs, such as a cap and some other items, were no longer in place. So it is basically a bare room. The floor was still consistent with the tile that was shown in the photograph, and that is basically it.
All right. Did it appear to you that the same linoleum flooring shown here in 38A through D was still present on the floor on November 26, 1996?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you went out there that day, sir, did you have in your possession State's Exhibit 67?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when you went into the utility room floor, did you do some testing inside of the utility room, sir?
I did, sir.
All right. Can you describe for the jury the type of testing that you did inside of that utility room that day in November?
Yes. I took whole human blood and ensured that the knife blade on both sides was covered in blood. And then I simply held it in an upright manner over the container that held the blood, allowing the blood to run down until it stopped dripping off the pointed end of the knife. At that point, from approximately waist high, I just simply dropped the knife onto the floor.
Oh my gosh, that's so irresponsible. I'm sorry. Because I'm just thinking here, if you were in the heat of the moment stabbing somebody and all that stuff, you're not going to wait until the knife stops completely dripping blood to just toss it. Sorry.
I don't know what the reasoning was that was the point. He didn't want to measure anything else, but he wanted to make sure it stopped dripping.
Yeah.
That was like the point.
Yeah. And I'm just, okay. What were you attempting to do in those tests?
Again, as a cause and effect, if there is a knife that has blood on it and it's dropped, again, from approximately waist high, what sort of blood stains would result from that occurrence? That is what I was looking for, was the blood stains that may result.
Okay. With the court's permission, Mr. Bevel, would you please step down here in front of the jury?
Yes, go ahead.
Now, Taking state's evidence number 67, can you demonstrate here on this carpeted floor the types of movements that you did during your test on November 26, 1996?
Yes.
How did you perform that test?
Okay. The first thing that I did was to simply kneel down in order to get the whole human blood on both sides of the knife. And I had a container that held the whole human blood. Then I held the knife just simply in this fashion to where the blood coming down to the point ceased dripping. At that point, I just simply stood up and turned away from where the container was and then just simply dropped it.
Okay. Now, the record would reflect the knife. When you dropped it from about waist high. Is that right?
Approximately my waist, yes, sir.
Okay. When you dropped it, did the knife appear to bounce off of the carpet and then land in a second location?
It did.
All right. What did the knife do when you dropped it on the linoleum out there at 5801 Eagle Drive? Was it a similar type motion as we saw here today?
Each and every time it bounced, yes, sir.
Okay. So it would actually fall and then it would move to and actually rest in another location. Is that right?
It would rest in an area other than the first location that it impacted.
All right. Approximately how many times did you perform those tests out there?
In that area, as well as some other areas, again, approximately that particular drop 8 to 10 times.
Okay. In the utility room itself, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Were certain photographs taken after you had performed those tests?
They were.
Do you recall whether or not we took photographs after each and every time you dropped the knife or not?
I don't have any personal knowledge of that. I believe that there were, but I don't know if each and every one was photographed.
Okay. Let me show you, Mr. Bevel, what has been marked as States Exhibit 125A, 125B, as well as 126A and 126B. Do you recognize these photographs, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Do they truly and accurately depict the test that you performed out there on November 26th, 1996 in the utility room?
They do.
Okay. The top photograph, 125A and 126A, do we see the knife actually laying on the floor?
Excuse me? Before we go into that, I need to take the witness on voir dire on that exhibit very briefly.
Very well.
Mr. Bevel, you've just testified that you have no knowledge of what the photography was doing other than the photography was being done.
I'm not sure. I didn't take the photographs.
Well, for instance, on those exhibits, you cannot say that this photograph came from the third test, the second test, the fifth test. You can't say that, can you?
Well, other than the order that they occurred on the roll of film, that would be the only way.
But then you would have to go to the roll of film and say negative number 1, test number 1, negative number 2, or whatever it is.
That would be the only way that I could do that. Yes, sir.
Whoever was creating the contact sheet or the notes on the photography would be able to say, these photographs are the first test, these photographs are the second, these photographs are the third.
Or anybody who had access to that contact sheet or negative.
That is not you?
If I had them in my possession, I could tell you, yes, sir.
Well, but as we sit here today, you are not able to?
I don't have the negatives or contact sheets in my possession.
Well, object to what's the number? Well, wait, object to what's the number? I don't know.
125A, 125B, 126A, and 126B.
Is that being offered now?
It will be in just a moment, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Well, whenever it gets offered, state the objection.
Thank you.
Mr. Bevel, again, we've labeled these as test 1 and test 2 for the sake of simply differentiating the 125A and 125B belong together. Is that correct?
That is correct.
126 and 126B belong together. So we have labeled that as test 2. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then photographs 125A and 125B. Do we see in the first photograph the blade knife actually still laying on the floor? And then 125B, does that represent the same floor after the knife had been removed off the floor?
It does.
Would the same be true for States Exhibit 126A and 126B? First photographs showing the knife still on the floor, and then 126B showing the floor after the knife has been removed. Is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And these 4 photographs truly and accurately depict the scenes that they purport to depict. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
Your Honor, at this time, we will offer States Exhibit 125A, 125B, 126A, 126B.
Oh, we object on the basis that the witness cannot identify what is test number 1, test 2. He said he does not have knowledge of what the photographs are, which test they are, or that you can tie those 4 photographs together. And for previous reasons that we mentioned earlier.
We understand. All right. All of those are noted. Objection overruled. States Exhibit 125A and B and 126A and B are admitted.
Okay. Mr. Bevel, if you will, stand here to the side here.
All right.
If you could kind of walk us through these photographs and take us first to 125A, what does that show us?
This is a photograph showing the knife lying on the tile floor in question in the utility area after it had come to rest from being dropped at approximately waist high.
Okay. And again, we're looking at States Exhibit number 67 in this photograph. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you use the actual States Exhibit for this test? Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And what does 125B show then?
125B is the same area from approximately the same angle showing the tile once the knife from 125 has simply been removed.
Okay. What sort of pattern do we see there on 125B?
On 125B, we have 2 different types of pattern. One of them is linear, both from where the knife originally hit as well as up above to where it ultimately comes to rest. There are linear lines consistent with the edge of the knife, and then going out from the linear line in both areas, there's blood. There's blood spatter that has gone from the impact to the tiles surrounding the linear lines.
Okay, now this line here on 125A that we see up here, okay, some distance away from the knife tip. Do you see that? What am I indicating on the right-hand portion of that photograph?
Yes, sir, I do.
Was that blood pattern produced when you dropped the knife shown in 125A?
It was.
Okay, so we have the pattern shown on the right-hand portion. Then we also have the pattern shown around the knife. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And they are both produced by the same drop?
Same drop of the knife, yes, sir.
If we can, let's go to 126A and 126B. Again, what do we see in these 2 photographs?
The same occurrence where in 126A, the top photograph, the knife is shown after it was simply dropped from approximately waist high on the tile floor. And then in 126B is the same area, just simply the knife has been removed.
Now, in States Exhibit 126A, I'm pointing to an area here, which I am going to call the right center portion of the photograph. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And is there blood in the area?
Yes, sir, there is.
Okay. And was that blood produced and actually deposited on the floor when you dropped the knife shown in States Exhibit 126A?
It was, sir.
Okay. Again, looking at 126B, do we see again corresponding area, right center portion, and this time, do we also see blood that is now from the area where the knife originally was in 126A?
That is correct.
Okay. Both of these patterns were
both of them produced what you made the one drop here shown in 126A?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you will, just hold this. Now, looking at States Exhibit 38A through 38D, Mr. Bevel, do you see any bloodstain pattern in any of these 4 photographs that corresponds to the types of blood patterns that you saw during your test on November 26, 1996?
No, sir.
The blood drops that we see in 38A through 38D, are they consistent or inconsistent with a bloody knife being dropped or thrown onto the utility room floor on June 6, 1996?
They would be inconsistent.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Bevel, during your visit to 5801 Eagle Drive, sir, did you have a chance to go into the carpeted area of the house?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, let me back up. When you were doing the tests here shown in 125A, 125B, and 126A and 126B, was there any fresh blood on that floor, sir?
At the time that we began, no, sir.
Okay. The fresh blood that was deposited, was that the product of your testing actually dropping the blade knife onto the floor?
That is correct, sir.
All right. Now let me take you into the carpeted portion of the house. Did you actually look in, I believe, what the formal living area and the dining room of the house?
That is correct, sir.
Mr. Bevel, have you had an opportunity to look at photographs marked as States Exhibit 111B and 111C?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. And have you also had an opportunity, sir, to look at the carpet that was removed from the family room?
I have.
Were you able to actually see the imprint in the carpet that we see here in States Exhibit number 111B and 111C as you looked at the carpet out there?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Now, when you went out there on November 26th, did you do any testing using States Exhibit number 67 in any of the carpeted areas of the house?
I did, sir.
Okay. Can you describe for the members of the jury the type of testing that you did in the carpeted area of the house?
Yes, sir. The same occurrence that we previously described in taking the knife to a container that held whole human blood to get blood coverage on both sides of the knife blade, again, holding it upright until the dripping ceased from the pointed end of the knife, and then did different experiments from different occurrences. In other words, of laying the knife down, to dropping the knife, to throwing the knife.
Okay. And again, what was the purpose of that test?
To try and determine if the stain on the carpet that we previously talked about from the actual crime scene, if that was consistent with the type of pattern that would be left with a bloody knife, either being laid, dropped, or thrown onto the carpet.
Okay. Now, looking at States Exhibit 11B and 11C, the imprint there on that carpet, sir, do you have an opinion concerning what produced that imprint?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Based upon your observations of that imprint and also based on the testing that you did on November 26, 1996, what is your opinion concerning what produced the imprint shown in these 2 photographs, sir?
That it was done from an item that is similar in configuration as to the knife, as far as that, for example, the pointed end, the wide end, the handle, that has just been simply placed in that area.
Okay. As opposed to what?
Dropping or throwing.
Okay. Again, would you categorize dropping as being a motion that you had shown earlier with regards to the linoleum floor where you held it at waist level and then dropped it?
That would be correct, sir.
Okay. And again, throwing would be more of a movement of actually tossing it down on the floor, right?
With more force. Yes, sir.
Okay. And the movement that I am now doing where I'm actually just placing it down on the carpet, is that the motion that you are talking about, this imprint being consistent with?
It is.
If you either drop this or you toss this knife down on carpeting, what kind of imprint do you see?
You end up seeing the identical occurrence that you saw on the tile floor where the knife originally strikes. It then bounces to another area, and you're able to see the impression from the first contact to the second contact.
Okay, somewhat similar to what we see here in States Exhibit 125A, where we have a knife that is laying in one area, but we have a sharp edge on another section of the flooring.
That is correct, sir.
Did you observe the same type of thing when you would toss or drop States Exhibit 67 on the carpet?
That is correct, sir.
Now, Mr. Bevel, let me direct your attention to the vacuum cleaner, which in this case has been admitted as States Exhibit number 93. And let me ask you whether or not this is the vacuum cleaner that you inspected during one of your trips to Dallas.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And when you looked at this vacuum cleaner, sir, did you see evidence of blood on the vacuum cleaner?
Yes, sir.
All right. And as you looked at it, can you describe the type of blood that you actually saw on the vacuum cleaner?
Yes, sir. There was a bloody transfer on the handle, the upper portion of the vacuum cleaner that would be consistent, for example, with a bloody hand actually grabbing a hold of the handle. Then, as you go down from the handle to the front part, there is a black plastic piece that holds the bag cover upright. And on that black plastic piece, there are several low velocity, in other words, very good size volume blood droplets that are just simply going down to that particular area as well as to other locations. As you go further down, there's evidence of blood just simply falling downward with the vacuum cleaner in that upright position.
Okay. Now, do you see evidence, Mr. Bevel, that blood had been dropped onto this vacuum while it was still in the upright position as it is right now?
That is correct, sir.
And again, was that low velocity blood,
That is correct, sir.
which as a bloodstain analyst would indicate to you what?
That the item that was the blood was being separated from, which is simply above it in this case. And instead of shaking your hand or whatever the blood source may be, there's little movement. It's just simply gravitational pull separating the blood and it falling downward as it separates from the blood source.
Okay. Would that blood be consistent with an individual who was bleeding, dripping blood, standing next to this vacuum cleaner as she is doing that? Blood dripping from her onto this vacuum cleaner?
It certainly would.
The stain up here on the handle, would that also be consistent with an individual standing next to this and placing her bloody hand onto the handle of the vacuum cleaner?
It would.
Okay. Now, did you see evidence? And let me just, for the record, let me just place this vacuum cleaner down onto the floor. Did you see evidence, Mr. Bevel, that blood had been deposited on this vacuum cleaner after it had been laid on the floor?
Yes, sir. There are numerous places all over the vacuum cleaners. Blood is found consistent with it being in this position at the time that the blood gets on it.
Okay. Would that be consistent with an individual standing next to this vacuum cleaner who's bleeding, and as she's dripping blood, it drips onto the vacuum cleaner, sir?
Well, both that and simply standing next with the blood hitting the floor. Yes, that's a type. Okay. Well, both that and simply standing next with the blood hitting the floor and then additional blood droplets impacting to the still wet blood and then going over, or blood spatter going onto the vacuum cleaner.
Okay. So actually, that individual could deposit blood on the floor next to it, and then that blood could impact other blood and then could basically bounce up and splatter over to this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think the defense wants to view. Should we get the picture? Oh, you did. Oh, cool. Yes. Okay, awesome. You,
Mulder?
do you
Oh, okay.
know
Yeah. Hold on. I'm here. Okay. What page are we on?
49?
49.
Okay. Mulder. Judge, we can see fine from here. Or wait, no. Wait, okay. I just wanted to see what you were talking about.
All right, come on around.
Judge, we can see fine from here.
Okay. Just indicating again, Mr. Bevel, am I now pointing to an area basically adjacent to the vacuum cleaner as it is on the floor here?
Yes, sir.
And as I understand your testimony, then it's possible for that individual who is dripping blood to then drip blood onto the floor area next to the vacuum cleaner for that blood to impact blood already on the floor. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then as an occurrence of the collision of the two blood droplets that will produce spatter that then can come up and then produce small droplets on the back side of this vacuum cleaner. Is that right?
Various places of the vacuum cleaner. Yes, sir.
And you saw droplets on there on this vacuum cleaner consistent with that also. Is that right?
That is correct.
Mr. Bevel, while you were out there at the scene on November 26th, did you have an opportunity, sir, to look at the portion of the kitchen floor near the sink area?
I did, sir.
Okay. How would you describe the appearance of the floor when you saw it?
There was evidence that, for example, a chemical, I believe amido black, had been sprayed on the floor and it was still visible. And there was some interaction with the chemical with blood that was still there. Other items originally seen in the photographs certainly were not in place. For example, the vacuum cleaner was not there. A throw rug was not there. So things certainly had changed from the original photography of the area.
All right. Could you see evidence of blood on the floor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What types of patterns did you see on the floor in that area, sir?
There were low velocity blood droplets, and there were satellite created from blood dripping into blood. There was also patterns of blood being distributed. There were areas where blood had something that was rolled through the blood, such as the wheel of a vacuum cleaner.
Okay. Let me show you State's Exhibit number 43E. Okay. Do you recognize what is portrayed there in that photograph, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And the portion of the photograph that I am now pointing to, how would you categorize this, sir?
That is a source of blood that was still wet and viscous. I can't even viscous. And that had an item such as the wheel of the vacuum cleaner that was rolled through it. And the wheel is going through it. It's both pushing blood in front of it as well as to the sides of it, leaving little ridges from where the blood has been displaced from rolling through wet blood.
Okay. With the amido black on the floor, where there are areas of the floor that were similar in appearance to the roll marks shown here in 43E?
They were similar in appearance as well as dimensions.
Okay. As far as width, for instance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As you looked at these roll marks, sir, could you determine a direction for the roll marks?
For some of them, such as that one, there's certainly a direction that is obvious.
All right. If you could just take that photograph and just show us what direction we see in that one.
It's the same principle if you had a paintbrush that had paint on it and then you made a mark. You go from the most paint to a smaller volume of paint. And it's the same thing we have here. The first contact is where you have the greatest volume of blood and then it dissipates. The correct term is feathering out as you go along. In this photograph, as I'm looking at it, it is going from the proximate center downward and to the left, the actual motion.
Okay, so actually, as we look at it, then, did I understand you to say that the motion starts? What I'm going to say is the right portion of that roll mark and it moves over toward the left. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the other roll marks that you saw, were you able to make some determination of direction on those also?
On some of them, not all of them.
Okay. And what were your findings there?
That the item creating the roll marks was going in opposing directions. In other words, if we have a motion that is in this direction that we're just simply looking at, that if you go over to another area, you have got direction going actually in a different direction or almost at a 90-degree angle to the original.
Okay. Again, with the court's permission, if you could just step down here and just use State's Exhibit number 93. Demonstrate the type of motion that you were seeing on the kitchen floor on November 26, 96.
Can you hear me? 1 second. The mic's just acting. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, 1 sec. Okay, sorry. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. It is a motion just simply of the wheel rolling through the blood stain. However, they're not connected. You then have another area and you would just about have to lift the vacuum cleaner and go over to another area and then proceed to roll again in a different direction from the original location and original direction.
Okay. So there were differing directions to these movements. Is that right?
As well as not being connected. So there has to be some movement up off the floor with the vacuum cleaner.
The roll marks that you saw on the floor, sir, were they consistent with State's Exhibit number 93, just simply being dumped over or knocked over in one motion?
They would not, no, sir.
Okay. Would they be consistent with State's Exhibit number 93 having been rolled in several different directions in the sink area on June 6, 1996?
That would be consistent with what was found, yes, sir.
Okay.
Do you want to take that? I'm going to fix the mic.
Mr. Davis, have you completed the vacuum cleaner questions?
I'm
I just
sorry.
had.
That's you doing too, huh? Okay, I'll do it.
It's okay.
You okay with that?
Yeah, it's okay.
Just kidding. Okay.
I just have one more question. All right. There will be that will be fine. Go ahead with that one. Yes, sir. Thank you. I think we'll finish this point and then recess for the day. Yes, sir. All right. Mr. Bevel, based upon the photographs that you have seen in this area and your observation on November 26, 1996, and also your examination of the vacuum cleaner, sir, do you have an opinion about the amount of time that passed between the time that these blood drops are actually dropped on the floor and the vacuum cleaner is then run through the drops?
I have an approximation, yes, sir.
Okay. And what is your opinion concerning the time period between the droppings of the blood and the rolling of the vacuum cleaner through the blood?
Mr. Mostay?
Oh my God, I'm sucking. What page? I'm sorry,
53.
guys.
It's okay. You're doing important.
I'm trying to put up pictures, and
Yeah.
I can't do both. Okay, 52.
53.
We're 53, number 11.
Your Honor, I'm going to have to. This is a separate objection. This witness has not been shown to be an expert in blood coagulation.
Overruled. Go ahead if you have an opinion, state it.
Yes, sir. It would be a relatively short period of time because there's no peripheral staining or skeletization of the individual blood seen prior to the movement of the item through the blood.
Okay. When you talk about skeletization of a blood drop, what do you mean?
Blood drops from blood dries from the outside edges, and then it dries inward. Even if the blood is wiped away within 50 seconds from the time that it is actually deposited, you will see a peripheral stain that is consistent with the original area of the outside edges of the blood stain.
Okay. Do you see that kind of skeletization of the blood as shown on the kitchen floor here in State's Exhibit number 43?
I do not.
Okay. And when you talk about a relatively short period of time between the drops dropping and the rollers rolling, what kind of time frame are you talking about, sir?
Because again, of the volume of blood, and we're not talking about individual droplet, and that is what I was talking about just a moment ago, but I would say somewhere in the range of several minutes.
Judge, I believe that concludes this portion of my questioning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we want to thank you for staying over, and we're going to recess now until 9 tomorrow morning. And if we're all here on time, we're going to get to go just as quick as we can. Same instructions as always. Do not investigate on your own. You will decide this case on the testimony, the evidence you hear and see in this courtroom, and nothing else. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves for any reason whatsoever, because it is not over yet. When the trial is over, you may talk or not talk if you see fit. Do no investigation. Please be seated in the audience. Do no investigation on your own. This will obviously be on radio and TV and the newspapers, and if you see anything like that or hear it, just please ignore it. Only decide. Your verdict will be based only on the testimony you hear and the evidence you receive in this courtroom. Wear your juror badge in all the courthouse and in the area. And other than don't wear it out anyplace else. We will see everybody tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Thank you for coming. If the audience will remain seated, please, until the jury clears the courthouse. We are going to clear the courthouse, and those who want to see the exhibits can step back in briefly. We know there are some here that some of the press particularly want to see. Let's clear the room. If you will clear the room, please. Let the record reflect that these proceedings are being held outside of the presence of the jury and that all the parties in the trial are present.
I have all of the photographs that were taken out there on 26. Mr. Mosty? Mr. Mosty?
Muted. Oh my God, I'm muted. I was talking and I keep forgetting I'm muted. I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good.
Mr. Davis has handed me what he says are all the photographs taken on November 26th.
Right. This is just for the record. This will include the photographs that were taken in the carpeted area, the linoleum area, and there are also photographs in here that were taken of the section of wall that was removed from the family room. And I have also got one additional board back here that contains 3 photographs of the carpeted area, and I'm going to leave that in here for counsel to look at also.
I take it there are no contact sheets?
No.
There were 3 photographs that were taken of the defendant by Patterson on June the 6th. And Lloyd?
Yes, sir.
The 3 Polaroid pictures that you saw that were taken by Patterson were taken by somebody?
Bedingfield or Patterson on June the 6th. They were out at Roulette. They have not been introduced, and we're going to need those. Do you know what I'm talking about, Greg? Well, I don't.
Well, whatever is needed, please let them have it.
Polaroids, though, right?
There were 3 of them taken of her in the hospital.
All right.
Whatever is needed, please let... Oh. Is that what he says again? Please let them have it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, certainly look for those tonight.
Can I expect those in the morning?
Well, I think if you will stick around, they'll probably leave them at 6:30.
Well, I don't mind. I'll be happy to stay if you're telling me they're going to get them.
Well, you can get them in the morning. Can you get them in the morning?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know where they are right now. I've not talked with Detective Patterson about that, but I will speak to him when we leave the courtroom today.
All right. Let's see if we can get some tomorrow morning again. Do you still think you will close tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that all?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
How do you
So,
not?
I
That
have a
you
qu-
just. That's a hot mess of not being prepared at all.
Yeah. So I have a question. I mean, do you want to continue or do you want to kind of just, is there anything, because Libra, you were sending me some new stuff. Is there anything we could kind of like just chat about for like maybe like 20 minutes about the case to get people in? Like,
let's chat.
I
Well-
would say let's chat because part 2 of this testimony is
that's-
164 pages.
yeah. So what's some of this stuff? Is there anything new, anything you want to share? Because we got to get these people, like more people interested in this case. I feel like, a lot of people. Can we? Oh wait, the Innocence Project. So that's for sure, right? Because I feel like there's some people
Yes.
that doubt that that's really happening.
Yes, the Innocence Project is for sure, actually.
Okay.
And if you looked through your email, I sent you a copy of the order that was filed through the courts,
Okay.
through the appellate attorney, requesting that the 2 attorneys from the 2 come on board as part of legal assistance.
Okay.
To
Hold
the
on one
appellate
second.
attorney?
Did you just do it today?
No, I sent it to you when I
Okay.
found it.
Oh, how long ago was it?
Last time we talked about it. Let me
Okay.
let me
get
open
it.
up my email.
I'm sure I'll just
can...
I'll find it. I'm sure I'll because I'll just type your name in and see. Sorry, I'm just kind of reading chat. Okay, so let's see here.
Yeah. And then I sent you this probably the same thing. It was like the Court of Dallas County.
Yeah, you sent me that too. I remember. Yeah.
Docket number. It was just recent that they did it. Like it was like something like April 27th or something that they actually filed it of this year.
Yes,
So,
they
I got it.
chart. Yeah,
I got it. Okay, let's do this. Let's pull that up real quick. All right. So I have 2 things. One that was motion to support Vanessa. Is that it? That one?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. So, because there's a lot of people that are doubting that they took it, but like, I mean, I guess they did. Let's see. This motion is what is this here? I didn't even get to read it yet. Support of Vanessa Potkin and Jane Putcher to appear.
Yep.
So, yeah, here we go. So the motion to support Jennifer Potkin, blah, blah, blah. I've appeared in this case on behalf of the applicant, Darlie Routier. If admitted, Ms. Potkin and Ms. Putcher will also act as co-counsel on behalf of Ms. Routier. I am practicing attorney and a member in good standing with the State Bar of Texas. My State Bar number, office address, telephone number, fax number, and email address are included below my signature. As set forth in her motion, Ms. Potkin and Ms. Putcher are reputable attorneys in their states. I recommend that the court permit them to appear in the case. And then, hold on, let me. I was getting pictures of Bevel to show. I don't think I ever did. For these reasons, I asked the court grant Vanessa Potkin and Jane Putcher, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, they just basically. But see, hold on, let me bring up the other one here. Why isn't it? Hold on 1 second. 1 second, Gage. Where'd you get? Okay, let me get it real quick, and then this one is the one that I think the Innocence Project. Oh wait, why is it saying no? I don't want it. I guess I could do that. Hold on. That's not gonna work. Wow, no, I don't have the right format. Okay, I can't do that for some reason. Huh? That Innocent Project thing is like coming up in like a weird format. It's not letting me.
What? It says PDF on mine.
Yeah, but you should see what it's like, all these codes and numbers, because it's not. I don't know. Something's not. I know. I believe you probably sent it, but for some reason it's not translating or whatever to mine or something. Does that make sense? But kind of explain. So they definitely are taking it, right?
Yes, they are definitely taking it. And then I've got this other case summary that was submitted. I sent it to you after that. And basically it's It's an 81-page document.
Okay, let me see.
It should be right after that.
That's probably the thing I'm trying to get. Then isn't that the thing?
I sent it to you on the 26th of April.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. That's what's not it's like, yeah, it's the document. It looks like it's a.
Let me see. Let me sign in. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll sign in to StreamYard off of my laptop and see if we can share it from mine.
If you can share it, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, hold on. Let me, because again, I signed in on my phone just to be able to
do it fast.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's fine, definitely. Oh yeah, that's something else. What is that? Johnson. Oh, that's the Kendrick one. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna try to end like, maybe 10 after 9. I still have to get stuff together so that we could kind of end a little bit earlier than not, like by 9:10 or something, But thanks, guys. I mean, that was good. We at least we got through the first day. I mean, that was interesting. Important. Yeah, it is, and it's like the fact that it was just crappy science. That was not a freaking. You should be able to repeat a science experiment or a scientific method. I mean, yeah, you can't repeat it. So that's probably why he got all like he's getting like all this crap now. People getting
but it's not enough to get her a new trial. It's not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why not? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Messed up, kind of,
And the fact that so they told the judge that the defense attorneys were telling the judge, look, this is resting on your shoulders. Here's some case law, and this is going to come down to how you decide. We don't think that the way this guy, who cares what his background is? We don't think that these experiments are relevant in reproducing this same circumstance. We don't think he did it right. And the judge was like, okay, overruled, like he always does.
Yeah, it's a bull crap. It's bull crap. It's like,
it's interesting that we can't. And for those of you out there that wonder why we're ending early, if you missed the beginning of this live, Zav is doing another live immediately after this because there's breaking news in the Vallow case, the Daybell Vallow case.
Yeah, so I might go a little bit before 10. I'm trying to get everything together. We're going to just talk a little bit right now, and then I have it scheduled for 10. But as long as I get all my stuff together, I probably will start before 10, to be honest. But definitely by 10.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. Definitely.
Saturday, we'll keep it. Hi, Cement Shoes. Saturday, we have a surprise for you guys, or we're not going to tell you guys, but just yet. I don't know when we'll announce it.
I'm going to put up a reminder soon just so I could tell people. Not today, but maybe in like a couple days. So at least people, could get ready and prepare if they want to come to it, or, even ask questions. Well, I don't, yeah. But yeah, it'll be fun. Saturday will be a definitely a fun live. I'm excited for it. Wait, yes. Libra, why are you here? Oh, you're sharing your screen. I was like, wait a minute. Wait, no, you're not.
Hold on. Give me just a second.
Oh wait, I gotta take one. That's not right. Wait, how do I take this off? I can't remove this. What the heck?
God damn it.
I'm so scared to laugh for it to echo because that was weird.
That was weird. It was really weird.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was. I don't even know what that was, to be honest.
We needed that because I think, we needed a little bit of a laugh. We didn't have too many.
Aww. Why? Is it my fault, you think?
No. Aww. But look, and I didn't even get to tell Diana Wright. Is she still here? Diana Wright, that is so awesome. That quilt.
It is.
When we're reading, it's so hard to look at chat, so we don't usually do it because it will take you right out of reading. So sorry that we don't do that, but that quilt is amazing, Diana Wright. For anyone who's late, right? She made that for you, Zav?
Yeah, she made this for me. Yeah, it's really good. Like, yeah, she made it for me, definitely. She's gonna quilt my banner too. So I'm excited for it. Yeah. I'm definitely excited. Yeah.
Yeah. She's talented.
Yeah, she really is. Like I always tell her, like, hey, put your information up, promote your business. I mean, I don't care if you want to, because I mean, if people like quilts, I mean, it's really nice. The other side's even cool too. I'll flip it around sometime.
I think you should flip. I think you should flip it for the day, Belle, so we get to see both sides. No.
No, I might try. I don't know if it depends on how I'm
feeling. That means no, you guys look at Sal's face when she does that.
No, because it was kind of a process. I mean, I don't need to, it stays pretty good, but I kind of like had to go to the corners, and it's hard for me to bend with my knee right now. So I'd rather just wait. I mean, if I feel, let me just see how it's good. I'll see how I am when I try to stand up.
No, leave it. I didn't know. Yeah, you're right. No, I'm messing with you anyways.
No, you were serious.
Well, I'm serious, but then I was messing. Then I started messing.
I know. It's all good.
No, you're calling me out on this. This is how this is.
Oh, no, I feel bad because I feel like earlier about your the singing. I meant it as kind of a joke, but I felt like I kind of like probably embarrassed you, or I don't know.
No, it wasn't embarrassing. I was just now I got to really think about singing it. Like, and
you guys still, but you both sang it slow again. I don't know.
Well, I was just waiting for
really fast or something.
No, I cannot. Obviously,
I can't get it together with you guys. Like, I'm trying to like sing it, and then I just have to like stop almost because I'm like, why aren't they coming to me? Like, why aren't you? It's okay. I don't know. Maybe it's because there is a little bit of a delay. Maybe that's it. Because there's something you got. I mean, we are off, and it's like, no, because even like Libra, we're on. Okay.
Libra said it's even my fault. I thought me and Libra were at least singing together, but even Libra said it's my fault. So there must be something with what I'm doing that's wrong.
Well, no, you just sing it slow, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's something wrong.
Okay, not wrong, slow. What did Lavina say? Like a death march? Is that what she said last time? Yeah.
Wait, a death march? What? Sorry, I'm just getting stuff ready for next live. I should wait to do it so I could see chat because I'll have plenty of time after this, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be in with chat. I'll do this, like I'll also have like at least a half hour to get the rest done. Okay. So let me go to chat here. Hold on. Chat. Okay, so how's chat doing? Oh, TJ, what's up? Jessica Turner, Roxanne, Dark C, Capri, DK, Roxanne, Mesra, Dark C. I'm saying the same people over and over. Marjorie, Diana. See, that's the thing. Like, everybody's wanting to talk about the other stuff. That's why I was like, man, maybe we should postpone it because nobody's going to want to come to this. There's too much other stuff going on. But you know what? They could come back and watch it later. Oh, I shouldn't even say it like that because we do have people in here. Gosh, I say things and they sound so rude, but I don't mean them like that. Sorry.
I think it's a good thing that people can access later. There's nothing like it.
Wait, yeah, that's true. And I'm gonna go through because Bella gave me a good idea of for each of our Darlie ones to actually put who the witnesses are on each one. So I'm going to go through all of them because we're on part 10. So I'm going to go through all 10 and like label like who the witnesses are on the titles. So then you could go like, oh, I want to see this witness, and you'll know who the witness is on for the title. So let me know when you want me to share your screen, Libra.
Thank you, Christina.
Oh, you're welcome. It's Christiana though.
You're welcome. Wait,
thank you, Libra.
Oh my God!
Sorry,
I said Christina. I was talking to Christina. So maybe you heard Libra.
It's okay because you're not. You're okay. Just let me know when you want me to share because I don't want to be sharing when you're like showing your email or anything.
No, you're good. You're good.
Carrie, what's up? Hey, Carrie, you wanted that the water bottle thing for the merch. For some reason, it's showing it's out of stock. So I'm gonna message them and say, what the heck's going on? There's so many things out of stock. It shouldn't be out of stock. So I'm gonna check. But if for some reason it is, do you have like a second thing you want from the merch? But maybe they'll say, oh, it's fine. I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see what they say. But just in case, maybe have a backup merch.
Carrie, get the green sweats. Carrie, I'm dying.
Heavenly Clouds is getting the pants, but she's getting black ones.
Who is?
Heavenly Clouds, because there's different colors. I just put the green ones up, but there's different colors of the pants, sweats. She's getting the black ones though. I like the green ones though. I want the green ones. That's why I put those ones up. I'm like, I want those ones, but I'm gonna order them. I need to order some so I could wear them.
You gotta rock it.
So you ready, Bella? Or
yeah. Listen, I had it up, right, and I was looking and it was like sharing the screen, and I wasn't seeing it on the big screen or whatever because I'm looking at the TV. I'm like, it's not there. What am I doing wrong? So I removed it like a bunch of times.
Because you're on delay. That's why.
No, not because I'm on a delay. Because Zav hadn't shared the screen yet. So I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong? I know I'm pressing the right button.
I have to ultimately be the one that share it. I don't like to put it up before you're ready because it shares your screen. So I when I put it up originally, I saw you were on your email, so I dropped it back down because you don't want to share your email. So I just waited till you got it up. So there's 81 pages right here.
Yes, there are 81 pages.
So we're definitely not going to read this because I want to be off in like 10 minutes. But kind of show some of the important things, I guess. So let's see.
This is basically, it says the narrative here is an attempt to show why the conviction of Darlie Routier is one of the greatest travesties of modern jurisprudence. It was an deliberate attempt to manipulate and hide evidence that started from the moment after the 911 call was placed and continues to this present day. It says we are going to show why this woman should never have been convicted and how this abomination occurred. It approximately starts on the morning of June 6, 1996 in the town of Rowlett, Texas. There's a frantic 911 call that sends the police and paramedics to the house at Eagle Drive. They are going to show you the physical evidence that was missed, manipulated, or outright lied about. It's been 16 years in our view, and it's long enough. They're going to start showing why she is innocent, first off, with importance to realize the number of facts pertinent to this case. And basically, it goes through, it said after the attack, the police in Rowlett brought in James Cron to consult on this case. So he arrives with a number of others and does a walkthrough at the crime scene. It was a very bad idea, as we shall soon see. They proceed through the house looking at the scene. Within 20 minutes, by their own testimony, decided that the intruder tale was bogus and decided that someone in the house was the guilty party. This was an absolutely ridiculous statement to make. Sure, it was meant to show their confidence of their convictions. This was based on the fact that there was not a lot of blood on the couch, glass shards lying over top of bloody footprints, no marks of a dropped knife in the utility room, and no blood anywhere near or on the exit window. There was also the fact that Darlie Routier, also slashed and stabbed rather extensively, was still alive and her children were not. Now you have to understand that the police mindset, when it comes to crimes of this type, someone is always guilty and needs to be arrested. They aren't too concerned about who. It would be nice to get the correct person, but that doesn't always happen. This is a very confusing case for them to investigate. There was a lot of blood everywhere with extensive amounts of bloody footprints and very little in the way of concrete items like fingerprints or footprints. They investigated the best that they could, but there was some very important evidence that had eluded them because it wasn't there. When Darlie got transported to the hospital, her nightgown was being taken to the local firehouse and wasn't there for James Cron to see. If he had seen the nightgown, he might have had a different opinion. By bringing in James Cron, the Rowlett police deferred to his experience and judgment. This is very important, as we soon shall see. Everything that happened subsequently is fueled by this. Another reason this is a ridiculous statement is that within 20 minutes, there wasn't time to do a single test. He decided simply by looking at things cursily, and his opinion was made. So subsequent discoveries of partial fingerprints were henceforth dismissed and unimportant because he had decided there was not an intruder. The finding of bloody footprints were likewise ignored because he decided that there was no intruder. The bloody boot print was dismissed as coming from a first responder, but like much else in this story, we have to take James Cron's words out on that. He does not bring forth any proof, but that was his statement. Likewise, there was a drop of blood found on a sign near the exit window. Now, he claims that it wasn't there on the first walkthrough, but was there later on. This was a very good reason for not having everyone and their dog, and believe it or not, there was a dog walk through this crime scene when the police allowed a neighbor, a civilian, to walk in and retrieve the dog from upstairs. Mm-hmm. To say that this was a contaminated crime scene would be an understatement. Now, getting back to the blood on the sign, how are we to know that this wasn't there before the walkthrough? We only have his word on this. The one thing that I can say that makes this unbelievable is the fact that he never took a single note. One would think that with all of this supposed experience.
So wait, is this just a summary? I mean, how many pages is this going to be though? Because I don't want to cut you off. Because
this one is 81, but this is like ultimately what their argument is, and it goes through. It goes through. You're going to see evidence of blood that they see the nightgown first on a true crime show, and
But how does it? So this is a report by the Innocence Project put this out, or what? How does this relate?
This is out by the Innocence Project. So this is basically going to put out their reasons and their points as to why they believe Darlie Routier is innocent. So it's something, and it goes piece by piece through evidence that is there. And I'm thinking we may get an idea of the different items that had been, go away, PBS. I don't care about that right now. Sorry. We may get an idea of what the items were, because there were like 10 to 13 items they said that had been put through for more DNA testing over all of this time. So this may give us an idea of the things that they sent in for retest. But they're talking about positions on the pillow where the blood is, evidence found on the coffee table. It's pretty extensive and deep. So maybe one night this may be something that you might care to cover. Missed defects between the couches.
Can we? Sorry, Leap. I just want to know if anyone in chat is still here that is 100% convinced that the Innocence Project is not taking this case, because I keep hearing that. So after seeing this, if you're still convinced that the Innocence Project is not taking this case, can you please tell us why? Because I kind of like to put that to bed, or at least hear the reasoning. Sorry, Leaves.
No, you're good. Not a problem. And I mean, at any given point in time, what we can do, if you want, is I can get we maybe go over this, and then I can get the direct link that we can drop in chat. People can feel free to go and look at it for themselves. This was released by the Innocence Project. So it took me time. I mean, I did a lot of extensive diving to get a hold of this information. There's a lot of things that I've ended up getting a hold of. I ended up getting also a copy of that. What was it? The book that they talked about that's on Amazon. Murder Tried, Justice Denied. Mm-hmm. That book is $800.
$813.
And
wait, why? Why is it so much?
It's out of
no
print.
one has it.
No one has it. That particular book only has limited copies that are printed every 6 months.
Really? They're still
yes.
printing, and they're not.
Yeah,
They
every
can make
6
400. They need to print that.
every 6 months you have to get a print from direct. You have to order it directly from the publisher. But I was able to retain a copy of the book in full. Didn't cost me anything, just by networking. So,
Yeah, she's really good at that.
So,
She's really resourceful.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
I'm nosy. That's my problem.
I think that's what we all are, in a way, like curious, right? That's why we're here in true crime.
And so, like, when I get curious into something and I get really nosy and I really want to know, I'll go. I will dive and go and find what it is that I'm looking for. And so this was hours and out finding this document that was released from the Innocence Project of this particular document. It took me hours of searching and going through all these different sites and things like that. But yeah, I got it. And then I got the Media Tried, Justice Denied book. I got the full version of it. So what I can do is next time I can drop a link for anybody who is interested in receiving that particular book. And also, I mean, I have to give it to our guests, Tara and Rich, because connecting with them, I actually ended up getting that copy because there was a gentleman that was in their live stream the other day who had the copy, gave me the link to obtain the copy.
I think he's in chat.
Who?
Mr. Phillips.
He's in chat.
Mr. Bernard Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips,
so much, because he gave me a link to his Darlie Routier Innocence Facebook page, and that is how I was able to retain the full copy of the book. And then Miss Tara went out of her way to forward all of the photos out of the book to me, because there's so many photos that are in this case. Like, there's over 1,000 photos taken in this case, and they're all out there between so many different sources just to get it all together. It's unreal. But yeah, so I thank you guys so much. I really appreciate, Mr. Phillips. I really appreciate you and Rich and Tara and
Bridget,
that connection, because it's very helpful and very useful. But as I'm scrolling down here, because I want to give you guys an idea of all of these things that the Innocence Project is disputing with this case. I mean, it just keeps going on and on. I mean, there's so many things. So again, maybe like we can drop it one night. We can get a direct link. So if somebody wants to go and check it out for themselves, they can, yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to be doing the other live soon. So we will, I think we will cover this, right, guys?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to maybe, because we're scrolling to do it quick, but maybe we could like kind of cover it another time or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because it talks about like the blood splatter analysis that we just went through with Mr. Bevel. It talks about like the blood drops and hesitation marks, and
I can't wait.
Yeah.
How all of this stuff, like how things had been staged when the pictures were taken, like all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Shiva says if this is the Innocence Project case, I don't think we're supposed to know this stuff. I don't know, girl. It was out there.
Hey, listen, this is out there. This was released by them. So this is part of their argument that was submitted in court documentation. So it's public knowledge. It's public. What is the word?
For public consumption.
Yeah, there you go.
For lack of a better term.
Well. Yeah, and so I mean, this is
awesome.
It's out there. I was able to find it out in the public. So if I could find it, anybody else can find it.
Libra, thank you so much for bringing that. I think that we're cutting it kind of close to the other live. So we're gonna, and thanks everyone for being here. We're gonna cover this again. Libra's just doing us the pleasure of showing us, and I mean, I freaking want to read it right now.
Yeah.
I know what I'm reading tonight, Miss Libra.
Hey, do you want me? I can forward it to you by email too if you want.
I would love for you to do that if you can. I would love that.
Yeah,
And
no
we
problem.
need to, I think we should cover it. But I think that Zav wants to say goodnight, and because the other one's going to be starting.
It's just because I'm
15.
trying to get everything the thing, and I'm going to stretch my knee a little bit, and I'm trying to get. I'm getting everything together, but yeah, no, I definitely want to go cover. I want to do like a Darlie, discussion sometime soon too, to get people back involved, maybe. But yeah, I definitely want to see that. It won't let me pull up your thing, but we'll go through it sometime.
Okay.
And thanks
And then-
everybody. What's that?
Is it okay if I share the news that I shared with you the other day that you said I could share?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So officially, guys, if anybody is interested, I have started a true crime channel on YouTube. It's called True Grit Crime. And I had to take my first video down the other day because I had some technical problems. So tomorrow I'm going to be reposting the video, but currently I'm covering the Molly Tibbetts trial. So if anybody is interested, please come
Drop
over
the link. Drop the link, Leaves, in a chat.
Okay, hold on.
She'll drop the link in chat, and then it's a really good, she's a good investigative mind. So it's a good channel to check out and show support to.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. I mean, anybody who wants to come over and chat it up, that'd be awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce. So she's gonna Libra's gonna drop that in chat, and then maybe we can you'll probably drop it in the next chat too, in the Daybell. So if you don't get it here in the Daybell, and Zav is going live, you guys, at what was it, 10 p.m. Zav?
But it might be a little bit earlier. But yeah, by 10 p.m. I'm going to go live.
Yeah. So if anybody has been following the Valo case, the Daybell case, she's going to cover the new stuff that's happening.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, yeah. I'm going to go get ready for that and get some coffee and stretch my legs out. And so yeah, come around 9. I might start a little bit early depending on if I'm ready in time, but definitely by 10. Come back. It'll be interesting. It'll be fun. Thank you, Libra and Bella. You guys are awesome. Thanks everybody else that came. You guys are awesome.
Thanks anybody for listening. We have the best chats, best mods. Everyone's so amazing here. Thank you guys. Hit the thumbs up button. Come back and see Zav.
Yeah.
In less than 20 minutes.
Bathsheba, nice to see you. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Michael Lafferty, thanks for coming. Yeah, come back, you guys. I want to see if there's anybody like in here that maybe is just for Darlie that I should say hi to real quick. I don't know. I mean, she must have got. I don't know. It's not a matter of. I mean, I don't know if I think she's innocent or guilty. I just feel like she deserves a new trial because, first of all, her defense sucked. Second of all, just the way everything was handled. I just feel like she deserves a new trial, just to put out some of the facts of the case that were like so. How do you word it, Bella? It just wasn't fair. I feel like I don't even know how to say it, but like some of the stuff that they did,
one-sided,
yeah. And then her defense, I guess he was cheap. I guess they still owed him money, and he didn't want to pay for any like extra testing or like prove the state wrong or do their own testing, like some science, like to show that. Like, I mean, look at Tom Bevel. Go do some research on Tom Bevel, the freaking blood spatter analyst that freaking we were just. With the witness we were just doing, like he has such a bad track record. Like he's not. I don't know. I don't trust him.
He was an alcoholic whose boss had to come to work This is the state's dude, and remove him from work and take him to a rehab in the middle of all this. So a lot of his cases have been thrown out, but not Darlie's.
Yeah. Why not Darlie's? A lot of the other ones have. So yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Where's Lee?
I can't say, yeah, I think she's guilty. Yeah, I think she's innocent. I just don't think that the way that their narrative is and what they said, how it happened, like, I don't know if I believe that. I believe that there's more to it. But her being completely innocent, I don't know. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say yeah for sure, but I do believe that it's not quite like they said. There's things that don't make sense. I do have a lot of doubt. So that doubt is making me ask more questions and making me look into it more, because I do have doubt by like at least what they said that happened. Just things don't make sense. I feel like there could be a little bit more to the situation than is being said. I feel like Darren could have a bigger part. Maybe there's something going on with, he has some kind of part in it that's never been looked at, because they weren't allowed to bring him up as a suspect or whatever. Her defense wasn't allowed to even like bring anything up about Darren like that, because he was Darren's lawyer too, and that was like the deal they made. So it's just, I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know if she's innocent or guilty, but I do believe that I just have too many questions, I guess. Bella, do you want to answer that? Why, or what do you want to say?
I think that if you we did a panel, I think it's been like 3 weeks ago as Hockett, where we had 2 panelists come up who are very well versed in this case, and they gave the side of why they believe that she's innocent. And so if you want to listen to that, it's very informative. But we will, while we cover this, we're going to have a few more episodes. We will cover, because this is like our reaction kind of as we're reading it. It's the first time we're reading it is when you guys hear it. And you will hear tidbits of, and you could form your own opinion of what you think. And we did blood spatter dude today, Bevel. It was part 1. Next time we do it, it'll be part 2. So it's very interesting if you haven't dove into it. Very controversial.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, and we're just still learning, actually. Like I said, we haven't even read the trial yet. It's all new, so we're getting your first reaction. So we're kind of learning, and maybe by the end of it, we will have a better idea of some things. But I know there's a lot of mistakes in the transcript, so that's a little bit hard to take everything, as fact. But there's certain things as we're going through the transcripts that's just like, wow, like, yeah, she deserves another trial.
Yeah, and Libra just dropped her link. So if anyone's interested in that channel, in her channel, and it's a really good, she's really good at what she does. So go ahead and check her stuff out. She's just starting. So yeah, I'm going to say bye so you can say bye so you can get on with
all right.
doing the next one.
We can just say bye together because I am ready.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm a little bit distant because I was trying to get stuff ready for the next
one. You want to dance? You want to do a dance? All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you again for coming. Come back in like a half hour. Come back and at least say hi. All right. It's the Valo. If you guys are following the Valo Daybell.
Important stuff, guys. You need to be here.
Bye. All right. Bye, guys.